Not sure how that happened. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right, man. We already live. We don't need to do no intros. We already late, and that's completely my fault, guys. I apologize to anybody who was waiting in the chat. That's on me. Had some technical difficulties getting ready on this bad boy, but neither here nor there, man. Rob, man, let's get into it, bro. This
Yes,
is the
sir.
first episode of the Fin Out of Water off-season series. We are going to be grasping for airs, grasping for straws. I'm sorry. This is, I think this is the first off season that we really did because normally when it's the off season we take a break.
Oh, oh no, we take a long summer, Herbie. Yes, we take a we take a long summer. Normally from the Super Bowl till about like training camp, take several months off, but considering the momentum that we have, we see that it could carry into the off season. So
Yeah, we don't have a I because and hold on, go to the right with your camera a little bit.
good, like here,
Keep going, yeah, keep going, keep going. Stop.
right there.
Yeah, perfect. So I hear some of my favorite content creators who do sports who primarily rely on football to get them through for the entire season to say, hey, when the season is over, that's when the real content creation starts. And I know what they mean. I have no idea what to talk about. So this bully gate shit was a godsend. Thank you, football gods. Thank you so much. Thank you so goddamn much, man. But just to give anybody who's in the chat who's gonna be watching this video, who has been rocking with us, who's been a part of the momentum, who we're gaining subs every day. What we're gonna do, we're gonna try to obviously talk about the Dolphins, talk about the Dolphins all season, what we expect leading into the 2025 season. Next season, we're going to do free agency. We're going to do the draft. We're going to really try to give a holistic approach to addressing the Dolphins as well as the other team because we have a very diverse fan base. Just because it's a Dolphins podcast doesn't mean that we're going to primarily focus on the Dolphins. But we have so many people who follow us who are Chief fans, who are Eagles fans, who are Cowboys fans, who are Bears fans. Like we have a very diverse group, and that's ultimately what we wanted to do. So we're gonna highlight all the teams in the NFL this offseason, bro, but one by one. But let's get right into the episode, man. We here to talk about the Richie Incognito story, and there's a lot of different layers to this story. And to me, because we're approaching it a couple of days when everything is died down, and this is just the way news cycles is like something as serious as this conversation, which is from 10 years ago, still resonates, but it only resonates so long. Like people are already onto the new thing, right? So I hope to approach the conversation with you as well from a perspective that I don't see anybody else having. And that is based off of me doing the dirty work of reading the article that brought this back to the forefront, the ESPN article with Jonathan Martin, as well as going through the 48 page report from Ted Wells that he was sanctioned and gave millions of dollars to do 10 years ago. And I came to a specific conclusion that I see nobody else in media coming to right now. Because quite frankly, I don't think anybody else did that, right? And that's where I actually want to start the conversation before we get into the nitty gritty of everything in regards to this whole Bullygate revisited shit. Me taking 20 minutes to read both reports now shapes my opinion that a lot of people that were talking about this for the 2 days that it's been in the news sphere really didn't read either report. They took the headline, they took the cliff notes, and they ran with it, right? And it really opened my eyes how little work talking heads do for their jobs, bro. Like,
And they pay people to look up the stats too. You gotta add that. They don't even look up their own stats. Like they have guys that look, they pay for that. So just think about it.
And again, I understand it. You are doing what, 20 topics, 15, 10 topics a day. There's the A block, there's the B block, sometimes there's the C block. You don't really got time to, especially something like this the Dolphins. Unless you really are close to the situation like we are, then what I can't expect people to really do deep dives. I could just expect them to take the cliff notes and go with the Cliff Notes. Because you want to know why? They're consumers. The people who are going to this, the people who want to watch Fox Sports, the people who want to watch First Take, First Things First, Colin Cowherd, they just want to get the Cliff Notes. They want the opinion from the Cliff Notes. And I, doing my due diligence, because I was going to do the same thing too. And then I said, you know what? Let me actually bring a different perspective and like actually have some context around it. And thank God I did, because it gave me the perspective that I have now. The perspective that I have now by reading both reports is this. Both people were right in this situation, dog. Both people were right. But I want to hear your perspective first, because you didn't read it. And I appreciate it. Actually worked out that you didn't read either reports, because I want to get your perspective. One, as being a Dolphins fan. Two, as somebody who had to live it. And three, how do you feel about it now? So go ahead. The floor is yours, Rob.
Well, Herbie, I'll start with how I felt about it back then, right? Like, I think I want, especially Dolphin fans, this will resonate with my fellow Dolphin fans. Basically, Herbie, this incident ended up being what destroyed the chance. Like, our offensive line has been terrible for over a decade, Herbie, and it began here. Because if people remember, we were building one of the nastiest big offensive lines around. We had Jake Long, Richie Incognito, John Jerry. Like, Herbie, the Dolphins were actually we were actually building the team the right way. And then Bullygate happened. And then, an O-line coach getting caught snorting coke happened. Like, this was prime mediocre Dolphins just pain, only in the news for bad things era, Herbie. This is like, I remember this. Like, it's crazy. Like, when it was announced that Jonathan Martin came out and said that, oh, he's been trying to get over Bullygate for the past 10 years, I was thinking to myself, like, dude, do you not understand the chain of events that transpired because of what you did? Like, it's like the butterfly effect, Herbie. Like, if Jonathan Martin could go back in time Herbie, and change everything, maybe the Dolphins are in an entirely different situation. Like, maybe we're like, Herbie, I feel that strongly about it, Herbie, because it shed the team itself in a negative light. And it was a light that didn't need to be shed, Herbie, because at the end of the day, regardless of how people on the outside feel, Herbie, we and this might sound like I don't know how to put it. Like, just like I'm not trying to sound macho, Herbie, but these guys are NFL grown football players. These are all grown ass men, Herbie. You mean to tell me an offensive lineman at that, someone who is 300, 350 plus, you mean to tell me you was getting bullied, bro? Like, that actually became a story. And then listen, the Ted Wells report was expansive. They talked about some of the text messages that he got, and he ended up checking himself into a hospital. Like, Jonathan Martin says that, oh, it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, Herbie, there's a whole list of things, a whole slew of evidence. Like, there's things that he said, there's things that he brought up, Herbie. There were things that he mentioned that made it seem that painted Richie the villain, right? And, I feel bad for Richie in a sense, Herbie, because at the end of the day, he was painted in a light that he never needed to be painted, even though, people around the league kind of knew the type of guy he was. They knew he could be a bit of a rough, dirty player. But, Herbie, that's what you want in your offensive line, Herbie. Oh, shit. Shout out to JPS. I see he done hopped into the chat. But my nigga, like, Herbie, when I think about this Jonathan Martin situation, ultimately, Jonathan Martin was a guy who he didn't want to say it back then, but he didn't have the heart for football, Herbie. He had NFL talent, but he didn't have an NFL heart. He didn't have, like, football wasn't really his passion. He was just a guy that was good at football, that was able to make it to the NFL, but it's not really what he wanted, Herbie, because when you think about guys who play the game, or when you think about a place you want to be, Herbie, you ingratiate yourself in that culture. And for a time, Herbie, he did ingratiate himself in that culture, right? But now, we look back on it, we see that he's saying that, oh, it never happened. It's just like, bro, it's kind of late now. Like, those, everything that happened because of the report, because of the accusations, it's happened now, right? And I'm pretty sure Richie got in trouble for that shit too, if I don't, if I remember correctly, right? So you know what I'm saying? You hurt somebody's pockets, you hurt someone's reputation, you painted the NFL locker rooms in a bad light, like I don't know, man. Like the amount of different things that transpired when it didn't even have to happen at all. Like, bro, who the hell, Herbie? How are you an offensive lineman? You get bullied, Herbie. I'm sorry. I can't fathom that. I just can't fathom that, dog. I just can't fathom that, bro.
Okay, and oh, matter of fact, let me get to some of these comments real quick, man. Shout out to JP in the chat, man. My favorite hockey fan. Shout out to the Panthers, man. I thought Matthew could chuck out here throwing them hands. You feel me? Oh, bro, this is a question to you. How do you feel about Haley? First of all, Haley Steinfeld, I love you. You one of the few white women I'm attracted to. Leave this shit alone. Leave this shit alone, dog. Talk about the AFC of the Bills and her 3 sons, man. How you feel about that, man? Like
Haley Stanton, come on, Herbie. You think I care about that, man? You think I care about that? The Buffalo Bills and their 3 sons, Herbie. How about the 4 falls of Buffalo, Herbie? Pay attention to that, y'all. Fuck out of here, man.
And this is the one where I want to actually address because it's gonna take me to my point. As also someone who had Richie Incognito and JP is referring to when Richie Incognito was on the Bills. Just because Jonathan Martin lied doesn't mean Richie Incognito didn't throw weights at people and threaten to cut his dad's head off still. That's the thing. Jonathan Martin didn't lie, right? It is all about a matter of perspective, right? So I implore everybody to read the Ted Wells report and don't even read the whole thing. It's 148 pages. It's extensive. It's a lot of information. However, to people who are civilians, not myself, not you, Rod, and not a lot of men who grew up in very, very competitive places, we could read some of the things that go on or what is not even alleged, which is true proof from text messages, from voicemails, things that actually happened, things that multiple people on the team had said it did happen. This is true. This is true. But again, it's all about a matter of perspective. There's a lot of people who would read some of the events, some of the cliff notes in this report and say, there's no way you could say Jonathan Martin was not harassed or bullied. The problem is that to the people that were doing it, they were not bullying him from their perspective, how they felt, because they were doing the same thing that was done to them. Richie Incognito is from Jersey. He went to high school in Arizona. He went to college in Nebraska in the early 2000s. What he knows is what he did to Jonathan Martin, what he did to Nate Garner, what he did to John Samata, what he did to Mike Pouncey, which is be really terrible, but do it from a place of love in his mind, right? Like, this is some of the things that he said to Jonathan Martin, bro. Called him a stinky Pakistani, dog. You feel me? Called him darkness. Called him a shine box, dog. Like, and these are just quotes. I got quotes. I have quotes from some of the reports, bro. One of the things that was, most infamous in regards to the Ted Wells report is how there was a running joke about what the offensive line was going to do to Jonathan Martin's sister, bro. And I quote, these are actual quotes from the text message from the group text. We are going to run a train on your sister. She loves me. I'm going to fuck her without a condom and come in her cunt. This episode is getting blacklisted because of this report, right? I'm going to try to use the language so this doesn't get completely blacklisted and nobody ever watches it. Hey, J-Mart's sister in town. Get the plastic sheets ready. She's a S word. You know what that means. I'm going to bang the shit out of her and spit on her and treat her like S word. Here your sister has a half woof pee, a fat hairy pee, right? Like,
oh yeah,
right. These are the text messages, right? And again, this just didn't stop with Jonathan Martin, right? Jonathan Martin is the only person who it got to the point, and I don't think it was the harassing that made Jonathan Martin quit football. Rod, you spoke to it. He quit because that's not who he was, and it was not who he was, and he went to the absolute worst situation for him. If he went to a different team that had a better culture that wasn't involved in this, a culture that wasn't run by Richie Incognito, he might still be a pro. It was just the wrong personality with the wrong team at the same time. And that's ultimately what really happened. Because if you feel the pressures of football, if you feel like you're not good enough, if you have imposter syndrome and you're questioning yourself, the last thing that you want to do is come to a locker room where you're getting called the N-word, where people are messing with you, people are fighting with you, and you feel like you're always on the end of the joke, right? And you feel like there's nothing you can do, that you feel like you're trapped. Because if you read his text messages, the conversations he had with people, the conversations he had with his parents, the conversations he had with people outside, it came from a man who felt like he was trapped, who did not feel okay, who was not happy with the stuff that was going on. He just couldn't fight for himself. So when he went to work, he played along with it, but secretly he was hurting on the outside. He was hurting to everybody else except for the offensive lineman, which is why everybody in that locker room was blindsided, which was why everybody in the locker room who gave their account said it didn't seem that bad. He seemed cool. He seemed okay. We didn't know it was that bad. It was just banter to us. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective, which is why 10 years later, now he's saying I was never bullied, because now he doesn't feel like he was bullied. Now he's looking back on it because he is a completely different person. He's angrier. He's bitter. He's mad. He's a nasty dude now because that's who he wants to be. And he is mad at himself that he couldn't have been that person 10 years ago when he needed to be. He didn't talk to his mom for years because she's the one who actually ushered the word bullygate and made this a situation.
Imagine. She's the culprit.
He just got the relationship back with his parents because he resented the fact that they even went and made this public. And I could understand that. You spent 10 years looking like a bitch. 10 years looking like a bitch for a decade.
Bullygate, Herbie. Imagine you're
Bullygate.
Not even like the Flakegate is more honorable, Herbie. How fucked up is that? Bullygate? Oh, not in football.
And again, to me, I grew up in this. I'm giving it back. I'm talking shit right back. You getting racist with me, I'm getting racist with you. We taking it there. There's no limits because that's how I'm wired. He was not wired for this. He just wasn't. He was not wired for this. He was not wired for that situation, that locker room specifically. What happened specifically to the Dolphins, I don't know if it was unique in 2012. I don't know if that's how the rest of the NFL was. I guarantee I don't think if he went to the Ravens that he would have gotten this. The Dolphins at that time, especially because I think it was Joe Philbin was the coach, right?
Yeah. Joe fucking Philbin. Oh, man.
Joe Philbin was hands-on. He let each group handle it, right? Richie Incognito. Now, you could make the criticism, you can't let Richie Incognito be the leader of anything if you want to make any kind of fucking Richie Incognito cannot be the leader of nothing. No, he cannot be the man in charge. He cannot be the head honcho, the aficionado. None of that, bro. He can't because Richie does not know the limit. He doesn't know the line. There is no line with Richie Incognito, and that's where the culture of the Dolphins fucked up. Is they wanted that. They wanted it. They liked it. They believed in it. It's old school. Richie Incognito was born in 1983. He got drafted in 2005. He is from a different era. Jonathan Martin is from LA. He comes from a very good home. He went to Stanford. Like, this was a complete culture shock to him. This is like dropping a suburban kid slap in the hood and expecting him to survive. That's what happened. And he couldn't swim. He sank. He drowned immediately. It took 1 season to do this, a season and a half.
Cinder block on the ankles, Herbie. Cinder block on the ankles, man.
But dog, like, I'm trying to, because this report, man, it'll be a good night for you guys tonight. What are you guys doing to Nate? Since we cut Samata, we've been on Nate nonstop. Even Turner is on it, and that's one of the O-line coaches. He looks like he's about to cry 24/7. I think this is Jake Long. Ha 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 ha. He's gonna go crazy one of these days, man. I'm just like, yo, come on. They thought they called it a dude a school shooter. They called one of the offensive linemen a school shooter, man. Yo, your team was wilding, dog. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
And that's why we are where we are, Herbie. But this is
the thing, though. The people who are on the brunt end of it, they weren't really cool with it. They didn't know how to deal with it, because at the end of the day, it's not on. Richie Incognito can't be the person that says it's not bullying, right? Like, it's not your choice. Because this is what Nate Garner texted Jonathan Martin after Jonathan Martin left the team. Garner sent him a text, hey, bro, if you need anyone to talk to, I'm here for you. I've been dealing with this shit for 6 years. I hope you're doing okay. Nate Garner didn't like this shit either. A lot of these dudes didn't like it. You feel me? So that changes the conversation entirely. Like Channing Crowder, like you said, Channing Crowder says, you a grown man, you can't be bullied. This is true, but Channing Crowder, you're a higher draft pick. Channing Crowder, you're a captain of a team. Channing Crowder, you have a completely different dynamic. People can't talk to you the way they can talk to a 7th round offensive lineman that doesn't even get no fucking play. There's pressure to fall in line because you don't want to get cut. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to look like that guy. So there's so many different conversations going on at the same time. It's hard to just say bullying or anything like that, right? Like, there's a lot of layers to this. Jonathan Martin was bullied. Jonathan Martin, just in 2025, doesn't see it that way.
Man, that's crazy to think about, dog. That's crazy to think about, dog. But you're right, though, Herbie. But you know what I don't understand about people sometimes, though, Herbie, man? And this is just, why don't people just speak the fuck up, Herbie? Like, you don't, like, when you're in why is it that when we go into social situations, we feel the pressure to just succumb to what the environment is, right? Like, Herbie, I don't really see myself being a person, being a part of an environment and just taking what I don't want to take. Because I have a lot of patience, and at the same time, I have no patience. It just depends on the situation. So it's just like, when I hear someone like Jonathan Martin or Nate Gardner, guys who are getting picked on, like you said, Herbie, like, we're from the generation, like, we used to, I don't know how these young kids do it these days, Herbie, but we're from the generations where niggas got roasted. Like, nigga, if you came to school with some Bobos on, if you came to school, you didn't have some name brand shoes, you know what I'm saying? Your uniform wasn't on fucking deck. Like, Herbie, you used to get rolled. Like, we came from that generation of just people picking on, and you give it back. But like you said, like, that doesn't always resonate with people. But if it doesn't resonate with you, that's when you open your mouth. That's when you tell a guy, yo, man, I ain't really cool with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, it may get to a point to where they don't take you seriously. Then you got to show them that you mean business. Like, people have to be, you can't be afraid to show a motherfucker you mean business, especially in football. Like, that's what they probably wanted that from Jonathan Martin, Herbie. They probably wanted Jonathan to snap. They probably wanted him to swing on somebody. That's what you want out of, especially a position like the offensive line. So whenever I hear things like that, Herbie, it always boggles my mind, because if I'm in a situation, I don't care who the fuck is around, Herbie. If I start feeling like I'm being slighted, or if I don't like it, I either leave or I address that shit. Because why should you sit there and suffer while everybody else gets to have fun? Or maybe everybody else is suffering, but they're too afraid because of one motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, that shit.
Yeah, and shout out to Carissa, man. You already know, man. Carissa's in the chat, man. Let's go.
What?
Shout out to Carissa, man. Appreciate you. So yeah, that's the point I just made, right? And again, it's just the wrong people that were put together in the situation. And that goes down to whoever was the GM at the time, dog. Like, you got to know who can handle this. You got to know who you're putting together. You can't put dogs with cats. You can't put pit bulls with chihuahuas. And I'm not saying Jonathan Martin's a chihuahua or anything like that. I'm not trying to label him anything and to demean him. But there are personality clashes, and there's personality building that goes into locker management, roster creation. It was a failure by the people in charge of the 2012 Miami Dolphins across the board. This should never happen. We've never seen anything like this in recent memory for a reason. Again, Richie Incognito can't be the leader of the group chat, dog. And no way, bro. Like, that's no.
But you know what, Herbie? It's messed up, man. Like, we still have leadership issues, man. This shit, it's just not Bullygate now. Now it's other things. Like, that's
and the funny thing,
do anything.
And the crazy part is, you guys, because you had no choice, but it was such a course correction that you've lost toughness and replaced it with softness. So because of this, you're still feeling the ramifications of this situation 12 years later, 10 years later. That's insane, right? But I'm gonna give a quote from one of the text messages, and this is a voice message that was sent by Richie Incognito to Jonathan Major. That Jonathan Martins, I'm sorry, his father still has to this day, and he will not delete. If you read the ESPN article, he said, "I'm never going to delete this because this is evidence." And he's a lawyer, and he says, "I teach my kids all the time, don't think about what the past was. Think about what it is and at what actually happened." So here's, and I quote, "Hey, what's up, you half N-word piece of shit? I saw you on Twitter. You've been training 10 weeks. I'll shit in your effing mouth. I'm going to slap your effing mouth. I'm going to slap your mother across the face. F you. You're still a rookie. I'll kill you." I would look at this and say, "Hey, you piece of shit, fat mother, blah, 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 blah." Give it right back to him. Jonathan Martin ain't from that.
That boy got spooked.
He's just not from it.
That boy got spooked, man. That's crazy.
So I could look at that and laugh at it and come right back and call you a C word, call you this, call you all the racist white words I could think of, because that's how I'm wired. Jonathan Martin wasn't wired like that. That's on Mike Pouncey. That's on Jerry Jones. Or it was a Jerry Jones?
John Jerry.
That was John Jerry. I'm sorry. And that's on Richie to read the fucking room. He ain't built like this, dog. If you can't read the room, then you have no business being in charge of the room. None of those dudes can read the room. Again, I read that, I hear that, it means nothing to me. I come from that. I'm built in it. I was raised in the darkness, born in it. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Martin was not. He was not born or raised in the darkness. That's absurd to him. And here we got there's an assistant trainer, right? And he was from Japan, and he was somebody that got it, right? So here's some of the things. Here's some of the things that there are Japanese from Japan, Japanese assistant trainer got. They routinely called him a Jap. They routinely called him a Chinaman, a chink, a dirty communist. They say he's North Korean. They said that they routinely spoke to him in a terrible Japanese accent, and I quote, "Rubby, rubby, sucky, sucky." Like that's what they said to this man. And this is what they referred to the Japanese assistant trainer's mother. They called his mother a rub and tug masseuse, man. That's what your team was doing, bro. That's the culture, bro. That just was the culture, dog. Like that just what it was.
In the locker room, man. That's no wonder niggas was doing lines in the locker room, bro. Herbie, the Dolphins locker room in the 2010s was the Wild Wild West, man.
And Carissa said, nor should he have to be. You're right. I am not trying to say that he should. That's why I blamed the Dolphins, because they put the wrong personalities together, right?
Or
Jonathan May.
Leadership. Sometimes the right leadership can handle all that. You know what I mean? Because a good leader, Herbie, knows how to communicate with everybody on his team. Like, you understand the strengths and weaknesses. You understand some guys you need to push them. Some guys you need to pat them on the back. But a real leader in the locker room is able to navigate all that. That's one of the biggest problems that the Miami Dolphins are still having, Herbie, is that we have talented players. We have players who can make plays and get stats, but they're not really leaders. They're all concerned for themselves or for their numbers or for whatever, or for their brand or whatever. But we haven't had that in a long time, Herbie. It's been too long. It's been too long, bro.
It's been way too long. Like it's crazy because it's been a decade, and we could make this not to this degree. Like I've heard hazing. I got multiple homeboys that are in frats. Some of the stories that they told me about the stuff that they had to do while they were online to get online, and then their first year as neophytes. Like it's a hazing culture, right? And I'm not a part of it. I've never been in it to that degree. So I can't say what's right or wrong. There's history, there's tradition. There's people that are going to hold on to the old guard because they said, well, I had to go through it, so you have to go through it. And there's people that says, well, I don't give a fuck that you had to go through it. What they got to do with me? Why are we still holding on to old traditions? We're in a new era. All of these things are true. Nobody's wrong here. The only thing that I wanted to do was present the information that two things happen concurrently at the same goddamn time. When you hear the word out of Jonathan Martin's mouth in that article, I was never bullied, it absolutely changes things because it gives confirmation bias to people who never thought he was bullied to begin with, who have no idea about what actually happened, who wasn't a part of this, who didn't live down here, who didn't see this on the news constantly. And then you have people who back in the day who were defending and advocating for Jonathan Martin, who hear that and said, God damn it, Jonathan. Like, we defended you. We had your back. We supported you. We were trying to be leaders of change. You were supposed to be the engine. We supported your cause. Nobody's wrong. Especially if you supported him back then. Because if you viewed this as bullying, then he was bullied. Because he is different and his mindset about himself is different. The reason why he said he was never bullied is because he killed the old him. He hates the person that he was. He despises that person. 2025 Jonathan Martin cannot think that he got bullied for his own psyche. He cannot believe it. It never happened because he hates who he used to be. But the text messages are here. The way he communicated to his parents about his mental health, his state of being, it happened. We have the text messages. It's in the Ted Wells report. Like, you can't change how you felt, nor should you. I'm not trying to make that argument in any capacity. But the reality of the situation is it's a man who wants to kill the past. I hate that I have to use one of the worst Star Wars quotes of all time to get that point across. But it actually works perfectly for this situation. He's trying to kill the past. That's why he says he was never bullied. To me, if I was in that situation, I would have viewed it as bullying because that's what I came from. That's what I know. That's what I'm prepared for. I'm wired to give it back harder than I get it. Pause. Jonathan Major
Big
was
pop.
not. Big pause. Big pause. Jonathan Major was not. And nor should he have to. I just hate that he hates the person that he used to be so much that he felt compelled to say what he said, that he felt compelled to cut off a relationship with his parents. This is a quote from him from the other article, right? And this is in response to a lot of it. And why the heck did this go all the way up here? Give me 1 second. Hold on.
You know, it's funny, Herbie, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people at times, I say a lot of people, but maybe all of us to a degree, you look back on who you used to be sometimes, and there are always going to be parts of yourself that you look back on and be like, damn, like why didn't I, like, you see the growth that you have as a person now, all the experiences, all the pain, all the moments that have built you to where you are now, and then you look back and you go, like, you understand that you now would have never ever put up with that shit.
No, for
But
sure.
at the end of the day, I don't fault him. And here's the thing, Herbie, I don't really fault him because this has followed him, right? Like Jonathan Martin and Bullygate, along with Richie Incognito, those three names are all intertwined until they're all dead.
But here's the thing, though. It's even worse for Jonathan Martin because Richie Incognito still had a career after this, right?
Mhm.
Richie Incognito, to a much lesser degree, doesn't get associated with Bullygate the way Jonathan Martin gets associated with Bullygate. Jonathan Martin will never be who he actually is. A Stanford grad, got his master's degree from Georgetown, and is working on another master's degree at the Wharton School in real estate, right? He's never going to be none of that. He's never going to be somebody who opened up his own business. He's never going to be somebody who has multiple successful real estate ventures. He's never going to be somebody who just did a TED Talk on Bitcoin. He's never going to be none of that. He's Jonathan Martin, the dude who quit football because he couldn't handle it. Right. And I'm not in charge of that. It sucks, but that's how things work, which is why he is trying to get rid of it. Right. So here's some quotes that he had in regards to his relationship with his parents. Right. And this is when I read this, it made everything made sense. It completely changed my entire view on why he said what he said. My mother, maybe in her mind, I can't read her mind. She thought she was doing the right thing. She wasn't intentionally trying to hurt me. Nigga, your mama wasn't trying to hurt you at all. What do you mean? He hated his mom for what she did. For just being a mom. For years. He stopped talking to his parents because of this shit. He just built a relationship back with them. And the same thing he says, now he calls and they talk. What?
That boy been through it, man.
I don't
That boy been through it.
But
That boy been through it.
when I read that, everything made sense. Yeah, you were bullied, dude. Yes. Your mom just did what a mom is supposed to do. You're her baby. She wanted to end it. She wanted it to stop. She wanted to protect you. But you became a laughingstock. You became an embarrassment. You became a loser. You became a quitter. You became a pussy. You became a B word. You became a lot of things. You became the antithesis of what a football player is supposed to be. And that has to suck. Because you had to live with that for a decade, dog. You still have to live with that. That sucks, bro. like, that sucks, bro. And there's another quote where he speaks to what he is now, right? I want to be a master. I want to be the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I want to be a lion. I want to be a great white shark. No peers. Nothing can threaten me.
That boy that's like a Mike Tyson quote. He ready to, God damn, ready to bite somebody's ears off now.
Like, this is some stuff like here, man. I'll just be like, I went to better schools than you. I'm smarter than you. You will respect me. You don't have to like me. You will respect me. When you address me, you will call me Jonathan Martin, Stanford, Georgetown, Wharton graduate. He had to kill that person. Like, now again, I'm not trying to put no split personality, psychoanalyze, like whatever, right? Like overcompensation. But in his mind, the person that he has to be going forward, that dude that played for the Miami Dolphins in 2012 does not exist. He's dead. Shot him. He killed him off, blew him off the map. And it's just a unfortunate situation altogether. Because
you know what? You know what's
now
funny?
go ahead.
Herb. It
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
reminds me of the Dark Knight quote, man. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's exactly what happened to Jonathan Martin, bro. He didn't die a hero at all, actually. He died, I don't know, against his will, almost, so to speak, right? Football career ended, reputation tarnished, and all out of love. All out of love, Herbie. And he has grown now to look back on that, and his shame speaks loudly about it. And here we are, bro. 11 years later, we're revisiting something that has already happened. People had forgotten about, except we didn't now. It brings back all those memories, Herbie. I'm just hurt, Herbie, because that was the last time the Dolphins actually had a good offensive line, bro. It was back then. It was when we had Jake Long, and when we didn't have a quarterback. We had a whole bunch of weird coaching shit going on, but I look back at that time, Herbie, and from that moment, from Bullygate on, Herbie, I look at the team we have now and I go, oh yeah, that's why our offensive linemen are guys who get sat on their ass every fucking week when they play on Sundays because of this, man. Actually, remembering it now, Herbie, I'm hurt.
Nah, I can see.
hurt,
I can
man.
see. I can
I'm hurt,
see.
man.
Okay. Let me get one last quote in, and then we can move because this is going to bring home the point in totality, right? I respect everyone. I give everyone a chance. I'll be nice to you. Smile on my face, and this is where it shows you like where he is mentally. If you disrespect me, I'll rip your fucking head off. That's who he wants to be. That's how he sees himself. That's how he thinks. That's why he says, I was never bullied. Because the person that Jonathan Martin is today would have slapped the shit out of Richie Incognito in his mind, in his universe, and how he sees things playing out. So now he's like, was I really bullied? Yes, motherfucker, you was bullied. Because
yeah, you did not. Nigga. Don't read them text messages, boy. Don't read them text messages, boy. Stop it.
He was bullied, man. Like
Stop
it's
it,
just crazy to say I forgive my mother now. Like that is a crazy thing to say in this article. Like your mom was trying to sabotage you. Like your mom, like your mom was trying to sabotage you. Your mom just so it's just an unfortunate situation. It is a bunch of class clowns that were in charge of a professional workplace that they learned from other people. Like there's so much in this Ted Wells report. Like they had a running gag on one of the offensive linemen who's not named in the report. He just called player A, where they always try to poke him in the butt. And then one of the offensive line coaches, the strength and conditioning coach, bro, he got everybody a woman blow up doll, and they got him a male blow up doll, bro. Like y'all dudes was fucking wilding out there, man. Like
bro, and that shit was the office, bro, in football. That's what it was. They had Michael Scott back there, Herbie. That's the equipment.
Bro, call it the Japanese trainer a dirty communist, man. Come on, man.
Nah, man, them boys, they had no filters, man. That shit's cool. Have some decorum, man. Have some decorum.
Dog, I listen, again, I'm too immature to talk about the report because I laughed so many times. And I shouldn't have laughed. I'm sorry. But the report is hilarious, right? My immature, I cannot be mature ass was dying laughing at some of this shit. Rubby, sucky from grown men, dog. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing, man? Oh, man. All right. Any last words before we move on to our last topic before we get up out of here?
I just want to say, Herbie, at the end of the day, I'm glad that ultimately maybe this, if there's one, I guess, silver lining we could say that might have come from this, is that it kind of put everyone in the league on notice, right? It put everyone in basically not just the NFL, but maybe in every sport, right? Like things like this kind of call things into perspective that we often don't think about. So, I would like to think that maybe despite everything that happened with Jonathan Martin and what happened with Richie and all that, I would think that after Bullygate, maybe some future football players that came after who might not have, let's say, taken to what an NFL locker room might have used to be. Maybe, locker room was being a lot less with all the BS like that. Maybe, maybe it helped out a lot of people in the long run. And we'll
No,
never know,
it definitely
but
did because it definitely did, right? Like I don't think we'll ever see something like this again because one, the NFL would never allow it to happen, and two, I just don't think the generation, literally the next generation after the Richie Incognitos are on that. Like the generation on us, they weren't. Hazing isn't what it is. Like, you feel me? Especially at HBCUs, there's a bunch of deaths that happen in hazing, so they crack down on hazing in HBCUs. The NFL cracked down on hazing. Like, they put so many rules in place that we would never see nothing like this. And for the betterment, because at the end of the day, bro, like, I'm coming to my job to work, right? Like, I get it. It's a very unique situation. It's not like most jobs at all. You're playing football professionally. Um, and you take you take your experiences all the way from Pee Wee with you, even though you're a professional. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to be called a half N-word piece of shit while I'm trying to do my job, right? Like I'm here to try to block the Marcus Ware, right? Like I'm trying to stop Jared Allen from getting to my quarterback, right? Like that's what should be your focus, and I just don't think that's what it is in the NFL, man. So, all right, man. Next topic before we get up out of here, man. I know you love this. I know you are just enjoying this so much, man. Your boy A Rod, man. You know how bad you gotta be if the Jets say we don't want your ass no more, dog. The Jets, the lowly Jets, they're like, all right, we're good. You're the Jets. You can't say that. Like,
dude, that's fucking hilarious.
hold
Man.
on, Josh, man. We got Josh in the building, man. Round of
Hey,
applause for the
shout out
homie
to Josh.
Josh,
What's
man.
going on, man?
I love that Incognito is doing a victory lap after the story as if he takes away from the things he says or what he did to that woman on the golf event. Yeah, what he did to the Raiders, what he did post this. Dude, this dude said he was going to sue and challenge everything in the report 11 years ago and never did. Because he know he can't. He says it in the report that he said he did a lot of the shit in the report. That he so it was like all of this shit is true. Like everything you heard, it happened. It was just a difference of opinions on where it came from. Richie and them boys and the offensive lineman, the guys who were there for a long time just thought they were shooting the shit and fucking around. Jonathan Martin, Nate Garner, the Japanese fucking trainer.
It wasn't happening, man.
They didn't think that. They said, no, this is awful, but they just had to bear it because they didn't want to lose their jobs, bro. So it is what it is, man. But back to Aaron Rodgers, man. How do you feel, man? How does this make you feel to see the Jets be the Jets again for another season, man? I know you love it, dog. Talk to me, man.
Man, listen, Herbie. Listen, when being a Dolphin fan, and I'm just being honest here, and I'm sure many Dolphin fans can agree, there's not really much to this, Herbie. There's not a silver lining. There isn't a reward for this. Being a Dolphin fan might be one of the most thankless things you could ever be in life, Herbie. But at least for me, being years mired in this shit, I've reached a point to where there is always one thing, Herbie. There's always one silver lining, right? Because this is the only realm where I accept misery, loving company, right? Like that's like in football, misery loves, like, you want misery, right? There's only one real winner, and you can kind of talk shit to everybody else. But Herbie, you want to know who's always the loser to at least the Dolphins and to at least the Patriots and the Bills? The Jets, Herbie. Herbie, I want to make something clear. I have bonded with fans of other teams over our hatred of the Jets. I don't know what it is about the Jets, Herbie, but everyone that I know that is a fan of either the Dolphins or an AFC East rival that's a fan of another team, we all just despise the fucking Jets. And and it just so happens that Aaron Rodgers is maybe I mean, he's not maybe. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But what he is maybe greatest also, he's probably one of the greatest football douchebags of all time, Herbie. Like like Aaron Rodgers is that guy who had that air, that bravado about him, that arrogance to him, that know-it-all kind of demeanor. Like, oh, I'm a smart guy. Like, Aaron Rodgers just kind of made it seem like the world is at his fingertips. And like this season right here, his entire experience with the Jets, it's even more humbling than Favre's experience with these motherfuckers, right? Because, well, Brett Favre was out here sending fucking dick pics and shit, so let's not even get into him. But when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, though, Herbie, I just love the fact that the Jets are just stuck in limbo, Herbie. They're in limbo. Like, what is the plan, Herbie? Right? You sacrifice, first of all, you drafted Zach Wilson, who ended up being a colossal bust for you. He was supposed to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and learn, and that just didn't work out because Aaron got hurt, and then you had to thrust him back in action. And then you finally get him, Herbie. The Jets got the greatest quarterback ever in their history. Not named Joe Namath, because Joe Namath actually won them a Super Bowl. But, I mean, they never had a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the closest they had was Favre. And this is what you got. You got a lackluster 5-win season when people were talking about you guys winning the Super Bowls. Talk about one of the greatest, Herbie, this is the greatest blue ball season for football fans ever. Like, Jets fans have to have blue ball.
You got to think about the 2 years that the Jets had. How many games they won?
Well, this past season, I think they won 5. If I'm not mistaken.
They won 5 games, and then the season before, he hurt his leg 4 plays into his Jets career after running on the field with the American flag. This shit has been one of the biggest blows, disasters, fucking shit shows we will ever like. It's so funny that it happened to the Jets, because if he was on any other team, it wouldn't have went down like this, dog. Like, the fact that the Jets curse, the Woody Johnson curse, the fireman Ed curse, bro, got him too. It got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It got him too. Dog.
Man. They couldn't even get like a Russell Wilson season out of him, like with another, like they got the worst possible season out of Aaron Rodgers they could have possibly had, Herbie.
They got the worst 2 seasons, bro. They lost the man that they invested millions of dollars in 4 plays the first season, comes back, and he is a disaster, and everybody hates him the second season. Garrett Wilson is the nicest man I've ever heard speak. He wanted to kill Aaron Rodgers, dog. Like, you know how bad, you know how miserable and annoying you have to be to make Garrett Wilson mad at you, dog. Like, bro, you have to be the worst.
Herbie, this man won Offensive Rookie of the Year with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Like, like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, could you imagine how he feels, bro? Like, Zach, like Garrett Wilson thought when Zach Wilson was done and they got Aaron Rodgers, he thought, like, all right, like, I'm finally my name is gonna be up there with Jamar Chase, and my name is gonna be up there with, at the time, Stephon
Justin
Diggs,
Jefferson, AJ Brown, yeah.
Like Garrett Wilson was hype. He was like, bro, it was so bad they brought Devontae Adams over, Herbie. And
how do you feel like Devontae Adams left, went to the Raiders, came to the Jets because his mans was there? And then the Jets say, bro, we hate your man so much, dog. We don't care that you came from Las Vegas to come to us, dog. He got to go. Devontae Adams can't catch a break, dog. This is so funny, bro. Okay.
Oh, man.
So I have the odds right here. And hold on. Let me add this right here real quick. So I got the odds, and they have the odds on where he is gonna go next year, man. So, right now, Steelers plus 300, Raiders plus 300, Rams plus 300, Colts plus 500, Titans, whatever. Honestly, man, it's really between the Steelers and the Raiders, dog. And this is how sad it's gotten for this dude, bro. Like, he wanted to be on the Jets. He tried to plead and see if he could stay on the team. And Aaron Glenn was like, yeah, but No, nigga, get out of here, man. Hey, yeah, that's
Hit the
crazy.
road, Jack, and don't you
This
come
is one
back
of the
no more.
like, and you hit it on the nail. You hit it on the nail because this is what happens, dog. Like, people remember things. People remember how you treat them. People remember how you do them. People remember how much of a dick you are, and they let shit slide and they let shit go and they don't deal with it in the immediate moment because I can't say what I want to say to Aaron Rodgers. I can't scorn Aaron Rodgers the way I want to because he's Aaron Rodgers. I might want to sign him if the opportunity presents itself because he's so good. I might not want to piss him off because I don't want him to beat my team and throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns and do the fucking the championship belt pose on us. But it's different when you're 41 coming off of fucking Achilles and you suck. Because all those people that did not like you, wherever you interacted, the fact that you always had to be the smartest person in the room, the fact that Greg Jennings didn't like you. Greg Jennings says nothing bad about anybody, and he hates you. Like, these things come back to haunt you. Aaron Glenn gave you his ass to kiss. Aaron Glenn, his first time being a head coach, gave you his ass to kiss. Aaron Glenn can't be talking like that, but he could because you ain't good enough. Now you gotta beg to be on the Raiders, dog. Oh my God, bro. This is, man, listen, man. Do good by people, dog. Do good by people. That's
what
a
goes
lesson,
around
bro.
comes around, man.
What goes around comes around, man. Tom Brady always did good by people. That's why James Harrison loves Tom Brady. And James Harrison don't like nobody. James Harrison is the meanest person that's ever been in the NFL, bro. When you talk about Tom Brady, the man has the biggest smile on his face because Tom Brady knew how to treat people. That's why he has 7 fucking rings. Mm-hmm. He knew how to treat people. He knew how to take care of people. He knew how to inspire people. He knew how to make everybody feel equal. Everybody has the same thing that they say about Tom Brady. When Tom Brady meets you, he introduces himself. He says, "Hey, I'm Tom Brady. It's a pleasure to meet you." Every single person that says the first time they met Tom Brady, it's consistent. Devin McCourty says that. Cam Newton says that. Anybody who's ever been his teammate, Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski.
All-time leadership, Herbie. All-time leadership. That's what it is, bro.
They have the same story. And it's intentional. He knows what he's doing by doing it because it's important. Enriching people, empowering people. These people are going to give their body up for you in return. They're not going to want to shit on your grave when they have the opportunity to. So this is the result. He wants to still play. Now he has to fight with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and fucking, and yo, man, George Pickens, man, yo, this dude don't got no decorum, dog. You can't say it'd be the dream to play with Aaron Rodgers, bro. You still got quarterbacks on your team, man. Come on, man. These niggas is wilding, man. They wilding, Rod. They wilding, Rod, man. These YNs ain't got no decorum, man. Come on, man. Like,
but we all know George Pickens is like Antonio Brown Jr. though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, George Pickens he's the next great wide receiver crash out. Like, we know this, right? We know this. The next great wide receiver crash out, George Pickens, everybody.
Oh my God, bro, that's funny.
I'm willing to see the odds for that, man.
All right, man. So out of all these teams, before we get up out of here, because we run up against time. Out of all these teams, man, who do you want to see them on, man? We got Steelers, Raiders, Rams, Colts, Titans, Vikings, and 49ers.
If I'll just say, for the sake of hypothetically speaking, if you could tell me that Aaron Rodgers would just give you one more last ride, like a hurrah, just one last hurrah, I would probably, you know what? As crazy as it sounds, I'd probably go with the Vikings, man. If you could promise that he would be Aaron Rodgers for at least one more season, like kind of like when Tom Brady, which I doubt. I think Herbie. I remember back when I used to say Brady was washed. I was just saying that out of pure division.
Yeah, that was a Dolphins fan that you talking.
Yeah, that was just pure division. Like Herbie, it's not even because he just played for the Jets. Herbie, I watched Aaron last year, and Aaron put up actually, like if you look at his numbers weren't bad, Herbie.
No, statistically, he wasn't a bad quarterback. He was a top 15 quarterback. The problem is that
when you watch the
person,
games,
when you watch the games, the person that he wants to be, he cannot be anymore, right?
No.
And this is why I'm kind of scared for Mahomes, is because so much of Mahomes' greatness is his ability to ad-lib, his second reaction plays, the talent that he has to avoid and to make up time and to buy time, right? Once that goes, who are you as a quarterback? Aaron Rodgers, when he tries to run out of the pocket, it looks like there's a piano on his back now, dog. That shit.
Oh, he in quicksand, bro.
He's in quicksand, bro.
He's
his feet move so slow. His mind is going way faster than his body is, bro. And it's hilarious, dog. He can't avoid the rush. He can't get away from people. People don't, because he's a white guy and he's a pocket passer. The dude was quick. He was fast. He was athletic. He was getting, like, he made it cool to throw on the run, to break the pocket, to do all of these crazy things. All of these dudes that you see doing it now, the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, all these
A-Rod was the guy.
Aaron Rodgers is the blueprint. The Caleb Williams, he was the blueprint. He's the guy that ushered in all of these dudes as his kids. But he's 41. So you're not doing that shit no more, dog. And when he can't do it, that's when he's terrible. And all of these teams outside of the 49ers don't have a good O-line, especially the Raiders. The Rams don't have a great pass blocking. The Colts have a decent O-line. The Titans, no. The Vikings, you saw what happened to Sam Darnold. You feel me? And then you got the 49ers. Why are the 49ers even on this list? They're about to give their quarterback $60 million. They shouldn't even be here. So, yeah, man. It is what it is, though, man. Lesson, though, man, be good to people, bro, because when it's time, people will give you their ass kissed, bro. Any last words?
Nah, man. You know what, man? We got plenty of off season for me to give it to the Jets for various things. So I'll leave by saying that the Aaron Rodgers saga from a fellow Jets hater was a success. It was a success.
All right, man. So everybody, man, thank you for everybody that was in the chat, man. JP, Josh, who else is in the chat? Carissa, for sure. True Blazer, man. Thank all y'all for being in the chat with us today, man. Round of applause, man. Get some goddamn horns up in this bitch too, man. So, all right. Thank you, Evo Mux, for being very laggy. All right, man. With the horns. We'll see y'all next week, though, man. At Deuces, man. PHIN Outta water.
Deuces.